what is at risk? And, you know, I don't know if anybody really has the answers to this. I showed some graphs. These data basically are consistent with that. We can expect by 2100, by the end of this century, depending on whether we cap our emissions or whether we do business as usual, a 5 to 12 degree Fahrenheit increase in winter, 5 to 20 degree Fahrenheit increase in summer, much more extreme heat events, and longer growing seasons. Next. Precipitation, the pattern of greater winter and greater spring precipitation that we've observed will likely increase. We'll have less precipitation in the summer and fall. That means drier soils and more droughts. More extreme events. When rainstorms fall in the spring, the soil is often partially frozen, the plants aren't leafed out, and the water gullies into the streams and moves out quickly. So we might expect more floods. Next. And of course, ice cover decline is projected to continue, the declines we've already seen. One useful way of thinking about this is if you take the average conditions of winters and summers in our region now and compare them to the average conditions of winters and summers, and this is winter alone, you might get an idea of what Michigan will feel like. So by 2030, Michigan winters will probably be, that's only 15, well that's 25 years from now, 23 years from now. Probably not perceptibly different. There's so much variation we won't be able to see a huge effect. But by the end of the century, Michigan winters will feel more like Missouri winters on average than Michigan winters. And if you live in Illinois, you'll feel more like East Texas. Or if you live in Chicago, maybe you'll feel like Northwest Arkansas. Summers are changing more dramatically just because of the changes in precipitation. So by 25 years from now, Michigan summers will start feeling like Kentucky, and by the end of the century, Michigan summers will start feeling like the cotton growing regions of Arkansas and Mississippi. So what does this mean for our resources? Boreal forests, and by boreal forests I mean forests that are dominated by balsam fir, black spruce, large tamarack. Those species will probably disappear from Michigan, except in the most low-lying, wettest areas. Higher carbon dioxide and nitrogen from air pollution could actually increase forest productivity, so trees might grow fast. But higher ozone levels, ozone is formed from nitrous oxide precursors, and when the air is hot and moist over Lake Michigan, more ozone is formed over that big reaction vessel. So we might have more ozone, more frequent droughts, more forest fires. When you have a longer, warmer season, insects, pests can go through more life cycles and eat more leaves. So we don't exactly know how all that will play out. Our resident bird species will probably breed earlier and maybe more successfully. Raccoons, skunks, deer might benefit. Moose, who like boreal forests, probably won't. We don't have many here. We have them in the peninsula. Next. Wetlands with earlier spring runoff, our wetlands will fill up and drain faster, so there will be more strains on birds and amphibians and animals that live in wetlands. Next, please. Lower flood absorbing capacity, fewer safe breeds, I've said that already, and shrinking wetland habitat. And if you're in the western part of the Great Lakes region, fewer prairie potholes because of summer drought. And that, of course, affects bird populations. In lakes and streams, certainly cold water fish will decline, fewer trout, fewer whitefish, more largemouth bass, maybe more carp. Next. Aquatic, but these changes in temperature, the changes in distribution, will be disrupted by invasive species, which are something we're not really talking a lot about here, except to say that when a system is perturbed, when it becomes unstable because of something like a changing climate, there are opportunities for species with different requirements to invade. So there's a compounding effect, an interaction between climate change and invasives.